Welcome to Screen Riot. This week's movie is Quills, a drama film from 2000. This episode will contain major spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, it's available to rent or purchase on all the popular streaming services. Go check it out and come back to the podcast because this is Screen Riot.
Welcome to a new season of Screen Riot. I'm Justin, and I'm joined with co-hosts Eddie, Kyle, and John. And we're kicking our third season off with Quills, which is a period drama piece from 2000. How about that?
Ooh, fancy.
Instead of drama film.
Drama film.
All right. So Quills takes place in the Napoleonic era of the 18th century France and follows the infamous writer, the Marquis De Sade, played by Geoffrey Rush. The Marquis has been imprisoned at the Charenton insane asylum for publishing books that contain lewd sex acts and his ideas on personal freedoms. He befriends the asylum's caretaker, Abbe Quills. These French pronunciations are going to be all over the place. By the way,
you're doing great over there.
You are. It sounds just like
right.
the real movie.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And Abby is played by Joaquin Phoenix, as well as the laundry maid named Madeline, played by Kate Winslet. When Emperor Napoleon learns the context of the publishings, he sends Dr. Royer Collard, played by Michael Caine, to oversee the asylum and stop the Marquis from publishing his explicit materials.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
Abbe.
Michael Caine.
So the film is 2 hours and 4 minutes, and
Yes, it was.
definitely rated R.
Yeah.
I don't know why, though. Like, I'm thinking a strong PG-13 would have been fine.
Rated G. No.
Yeah. And it was directed by Philip Kaufman. So if you're not familiar with Philip Kaufman, you actually are, but you probably don't realize it.
Yeah, because I don't think I've ever... I haven't heard the name.
Yeah. So Philip Kaufman. So he's directed, just to name a few of his more popular movies, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1978.
Yeah.
The Wanderers, 1979.
Holy shit.
The Right Stuff, 1983. And The Unbearable Lightness of Being in 1988.
Wow. Okay.
So a bunch of stuff.
I do know him.
Yeah, exactly. You actually know him even further because he's written way more stuff than he's directed.
Oh, wow.
So he's written The Wanderers, The Right Stuff, but just to add to those two pieces of credits, he also wrote Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And
So, like, co-wrote or just like...
So
2 out of 3.
Yeah.
So Raiders he wrote.
Oh, wow.
Okay, but Last Crusade and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, he developed the characters. So he's credited as writer of characters.
Interesting. I really like Last Crusade.
Yeah. Well, Raiders of the Lost Ark is one of my favorite movies ever.
Yeah.
So,
I like your say too, but Raiders.
yeah. And he's also writing the characters for the upcoming Indiana Jones movie that's supposed to be released in 2022.
Oh, wow.
So,
Wow.
he's got his hand in the Indiana Jones pocket, I guess, if you want to say that.
I guess.
So, let's talk about Oscars for this movie here. So, this came out in 2000, so that means it was around the 2001 Oscars. It was nominated for Best Actor for Geoffrey Rush. Didn't win. It didn't win any Oscars, but it was nominated for Best Actor, nominated for Best Costumes, and nominated for Best Art Direction / Set Direction. Or decoration, I mean, set decoration.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do totally agree with the nomination of Geoffrey Rush, though.
Oh, so do I.
This is probably one of the best films that I've seen him in.
I was thinking that too. And then I was thinking, well, what about The King's Speech? I really like him in The King's Speech as well.
He had a little bit more...
But it's a different character. It's hard to
It is hard
compare
to
the two.
compare those. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like he had a lot more emotional range in this movie than he did in The King's Speech. King's Speech is more just, I'm this speech therapist and I'm going to break you pretty much.
Yeah.
This one, it's, oh, I'm happy, and then, oh my God, my life is ruined type thing. And just see that character arc go that much, like, wow, that's pretty incredible to go through that.
Mm-hmm. Well, he didn't win for Best Actor. The person who did win that year was Russell Crowe for Gladiator.
Ooh.
So do you think Geoffrey Rush should have won over Russell Crowe?
Crow? I don't know. That's a pretty tough one.
Yes.
I think yes.
I think yes.
And
Because, I mean, Russell Crowe was Russell Crowe I mean, Russell Crowe was his character throughout the whole film. I mean, it was him. Like it was the Marcus. What was his name?
Aurelius, or no,
No,
not
that
Aurelius.
was the Caesar or
Yeah.
whatever. I forget his name.
His name is
Maximilian.
Maximilian?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think you're Maximus.
Maximus. something.
Maximus.
Gladiator.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was the gladiator,
gladiator,
the
yeah.
entire
Yeah.
time. He really didn't change.
True.
But
Yeah,
Geoffrey
he was
Rush,
just revenge the whole
Geoffrey
time.
Rush. I mean, he had, like Kyle was saying, a wide range of character arcs.
Well,
we'll
it's not
say.
just that. So what you're trying to say really is that Geoffrey Rush made you forget you were watching Geoffrey Rush.
Oh,
You
without a doubt.
You felt
Yeah.
like you were watching a story about the Marquis de Sade, and you're like, oh, cool, and they actually got the Marquis de Sade to star in this one.
Yes,
Like
exactly.
it's that level of. It's almost what's his Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
It's almost Daniel Day-Lewis.
I mean, and Russell Crowe's performance wasn't bad at all. I'm not saying that.
Oh, no,
he
it's
wasn't
just-
Russell Crowe as Russell Crowe because I don't think he's as bad as like Samuel L. Jackson.
No.
Samuel L. Jackson's a good actor, but he's Samuel L. Jackson in every
Yeah.
movie.
He's not Vince. He's not Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
right.
Vince Vaughn is Vince Vaughn and everything.
But
Yep.
Russell Crowe at the beginning of Gladiator was Russell Crowe at the end of Gladiator.
Right.
It was the same character.
Yeah. Are you not into trains?
Oh, I love trains.
So some of the other people that were nominated that year was Javier Bardem for Before Night Falls, which I've never seen. Tom Hanks in Castaway.
Before Night Falls, by the way, I believe with Javier Bardem is the story of a Cuban poet. I want to say is what he was. He was a homosexual who was jailed by Castro when Castro was jailing all undesirable and political refugees,
and all.
political opponents and whatnot. And it's the story of him until he's released, I believe, in 1981. I think is the year that the big opening of the gates, quote unquote, and the expulsion of a bunch of undesirables from Cuba.
Gotcha.
So he was part of that group.
Gotcha. So Tom Hanks was also nominated for Castaway, and Ed Harris was nominated for Pollock.
Oh, Pollock's a damn good movie too.
That's a pretty interesting cast list
Yeah.
there.
That's a hard one.
Yeah, but Russell Crowe beat them all out.
Wow.
But this was back whenever Hollywood made movies that people saw
Or that wanted to see.
or that wanted to see. Exactly. It wasn't, here's December. We're going to have to get all these movies that we paid for with the Marvel money.
Right.
So it was not nominated for Best Picture.
I can
But
see that.
I like to go through Best Pictures of the year just to kind of get a glimpse of the
What
stuff
it was
that was
up
going
against.
on. Yeah.
Gladiator.
So obviously Gladiator won.
Castaway.
Right.
Yeah.
No, Castaway was not nominated.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah. Chocolat was.
Ugh.
Yeah, I did not like Chocolat. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Oh God, I hated that movie even then.
Yeah.
It's because it was beautiful.
I
They
guess.
were talking about them dancing, like running through the trees. They were like, it's the most beautiful.
It was like a technical
Yeah.
marvel
Yeah.
kind of
Look,
thing.
they used
of the time.
wires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What,
They
what
can
an amazing invention.
Yeah, they can paint out wires. Awesome.
Okay.
Aaron Brockovich and Traffic.
I didn't like Traffic. Aaron Brockovich was okay, but I couldn't see it for Best Picture. I would see Before
I would see
Nightfall
Quills before
or Quills or any of those.
before
yeah.
Crouching Tiger or
Or Chocolat.
Chocolat. And
Before Chocolat, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crouching Tiger, as much as I don't agree with them, I do kind of see I mean, it was more of a pretty. They focused more on the art of martial arts movies as opposed to it just being a martial arts movie. So because of that, they made a very conceptual martial arts movie. So I could kind of see where they would fit in almost better for Best Picture than Quills. But Chocolat and Aaron Brockovich, I mean, really?
yeah.
Like,
I don't
No.
like Chocolat because they don't know how to say chocolate.
it's the front. Oh, never mind.
I'll go see Chocolate.
Yeah, I'll see chocolate. I've seen Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory, so I'm a chocolate expert.
Speaking of chocolate, did you see Geoffrey Rush's use of chocolate in the last scene? Anyway, that's all that was, right? Just chocolate?
That's a good segue.
Oh, that's
Actually,
that is a perfect segue.
might as well get into this now. So speaking of that last scene,
Sorry, I'm
where
tickling myself.
where he uses his own excrement to write on the walls. Apparently, the art direction team and all went to the director and the writer to find out like what his diet would have been at that time. That way, they could get the consistency and
the
everything
color right, I
and
guess?
everything correct.
Oh dear.
Wow.
That's nasty.
That's dedication.
That's why they're nominated
That's
for
what art direction.
Okay,
Exactly.
so on that,
Let's go on the extra mile.
so on that, it's
The
important to
extra
note
mile.
something.
The excrement.
So the movie's about the Marquis de Sade and the Abbey and the doctor whose name I can't remember, who's played by Michael Caine, right?
Collard.
Collard, thank you. All three of these guys existed, and they all did actually work at Charrington Asylum, or, at the same time that the Marquis was actually jailed at the Charrington Asylum. Mm-hmm. The Abbey, the actual guy, the guy that Joaquin Phoenix is playing, was known for art therapy. The one of the big things that they actually got wrong in the movie, which I think would have changed the movie in a huge way, is that the Marquis' wife, the Abbey actually let the Marquis' wife live at the asylum with the Marquis.
Yeah.
So she was allowed like nightly visits and all this kind of shit, and lived on the grounds of the asylum
With his two daughters.
with his family. So it's kind of a very weird situation that it existed in history. It's a real thing. And the doctor Collard was a doctor of the day, so he would have been into leeches and drowning people and being like, "Oh, this is how they're gonna be better," but with a French accent. This is how they'll be better. And then
As he ate his chocolate.
Anyway,
No, it's just Michael Caine. And we're like, this is how they're going to be better. Michael Caine.
I like that he doesn't even try. He
Yeah.
doesn't even try for
It's like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to
I'm
be.
Michael Caine. I don't have to.
Yeah.
Yes, now watch as I rape this 15-year-old girl. Anyway,
Did the
Evil
nuns
Michael
not
Caine,
tell you?
I do not like. It unnerved me.
that scene.
Just
Yeah.
evil Michael Caine in general.
Yeah,
Especially that scene, yes. But I'm like, no. I'm not. No more movies, gentlemen, where Michael Caine is a bad guy.
Oh,
I
that's
can't do
I
it.
got a
definitely
couple.
coming. Yeah.
I can't do it anymore.
I got one then.
So talking about
Hurts
the
my heart.
Collard actually had a couple of youthful brides, and that's again shown in this movie. And apparently, the play and the Marquis de Sade going after Collard, that didn't take place. But God, how great to think that it would have. You know what I mean? Like, what would a guy who is basically known for pornography having like such great material at his fingertips?
Right.
You know what I mean? To be able to turn things on him.
Pretty sure the Marquis would have probably been dead, like, on the spot if he would have done that in real life.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, he's in an asylum. I mean, what would have what
we'll
a
see.
scandal?
Well, see. Here's the thing. Yeah, he's in an asylum, but he's also an affluent, rich person.
Yes.
Yeah, he
in
was an
asylum.
aristocrat. Yeah.
He was an aristocrat. So back then, I mean, if you had money, you got your wine imported, and you were treated like royalty.
You were, but not at this time in history.
was about
Remember,
to say,
this was
this is during
was
the Revolution.
right after the Revolution. This is during the Napoleonic era. So this is a time when having money and stuff like that could also separate your head from your shoulders.
Well, yeah.
So I mean, it's very strange the way that it all worked out. There's theories that the Abbé, that's one of the things that, so in the movie, Geoffrey Rush and Joaquin Phoenix have these moments where it's pretty obvious that the Marquis is flirting with the Abbey, right?
Oh, yeah.
That Geoffrey Rush is going after
Well,
Joaquin Phoenix.
especially whenever he just basically says, "Hey, just do me."
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, ugh, yeah.
Yeah, he's tantalizing him.
Speaking of, there's way too much naked Geoffrey Rush in this.
Okay, I agree with you.
I mean, it's like
look,
half the movie he's running around naked.
hands down, I agree with you. Yes, there's not enough naked Kate Winslet. I'm with you on that as well. I know. I only caught a couple of glimpses of them, Kate Winslet's. So, but there is theories that that's one of the reasons why the Abbey let him get away with as much as he did, and that's why Dr. Collard was eventually called to the asylum. Was like, no, the Abbey's things are going crazy there.
I see.
So yeah, so they kind of play on. I mean, the movie is fake. I mean, it's a fiction, but it's a fiction based on some interesting tidbits from history. So, my man's play. Anyway, so
Yeah, right. Man's play.
Fuck you guys. But yeah, that's. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say I have an interesting bit of trivia that y'all might know, but I found it interesting because I did not know.
Amelia Warner was 18 during the shooting,
That is not where I was going with this.
but she was. Go ahead.
We apparently get the word sadism from the Marquis de Sade.
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Yeah, this movie actually made me want to do a lot of research on this guy.
Yeah.
So in the span of like an hour and a half or something, or 2 hours, I learned a lot about him. A lot of interesting stuff.
Not all from like Pornhub, right? Like,
No.
Like real. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like his entire ancestry, like, well, his family like tried to wipe his name clean from like history and stuff because because of what he did, and like his own family had not even heard of him until like the 1940s.
Oh, really?
wow.
Because
Yeah.
they did that much to wipe the...
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Like
That's
changing
crazy.
their name and everything.
That's nuts.
It gets deep into about how much they tried to like write it off and all this stuff. But now the family's like embracing it, and like they're making like wines out of the province that he was from.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's called like Wine de Sade or something like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
And all kinds of stuff trying to bring it in. The family lived in one of his houses, but their ancestors before them, they found that there was a section that was bricked off, and they tore it down, and they found tons of his writings that were never released.
Holy cow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nuts.
So they started kind of releasing them and all that stuff. So anyway, but back to the movie. Not really sure what to say about it.
No? Did you,
I
did
mean,
you
no,
like it?
I
Like, what do you
did like
think?
it. I actually really liked it a lot.
Okay.
It's definitely a movie that I would rewatch again. I thought everybody did a great job in it. You guys typically talk about music. I don't typically catch up on the music and stuff. What did you guys think about like the music?
The music was kind of hardly there. Like it was there, but it blended in with the movie. It didn't really take me out and say, "Oh man, this is a really good piece."
Yeah. It's a bunch of action music. So like whenever things are supposed to be kind of like dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 like the music kind of goes with that, and whenever it's supposed to be fast paced, the music's fast paced.
Yeah.
So you're not focused on it, but it's helping you move the movie along.
Right.
It's done well.
Yeah,
I mean that's
it
the thing.
definitely.
Like,
Yeah, you're right. It definitely moves with the movie, and,
Yeah.
and it almost like like video games in a way. How when there's nothing really going on, the music's kind of tame, and then
Right.
when the action happens, that's when it's there, and it kind of ramps you up in a way. It's like, holy cow! Okay, so things are happening, and it's fast paced, and
yeah.
oh my gosh, who's gonna die? Type thing.
You know, there. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I did learn something
Oh wait, hold on.
from the movie.
Okay.
Never play a game of telephone with psychopaths.
That's very true.
Okay?
Yeah.
Unless you're trying to make the book a little bit more dirty.
I guess.
I like that. I like that his realization. He's like, of course, I'm using idiots to do. Or what does he say? I think a book written by morons and crazy bastards or something.
Something,
He's like,
yeah.
yeah. He's like,
They might make it better.
they
Yeah,
might
they
make
might
it better.
improve on
Who
it.
knows? They might improve it.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is pretty funny.
I thought that was great. Sorry, that was my stomach. It's been on me all week. So
There was
go
one
ahead.
scene that I thought was over the top, and I probably would have not cut it out,
Okay.
but definitely cut it down. And that was when we first meet his wife.
Yes.
She comes to his cell, I
Yeah.
guess you would call it, and he just flips shit.
Yes.
You know, I was like, okay, Jeff, let's tame it down a little bit. You're kind of going crazy.
Yeah.
I definitely would have cut that down because I did feel like it was a little long, and that would be the first place that I would start
Yeah.
kind of trimming stuff
The
down.
first place I would start, cut out the whole subplot of Madeline and the guy on the horse.
I kind of agree with
Get
you on
rid
that.
of that. It does nothing.
It doesn't
for the
go
film.
anywhere.
It doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just sad when doesn't show up one day.
Though I have to say, the last time we see the guy on the horse, which we don't even know his name.
No,
right? He never
he's
says
guy on
it,
the
right?
horse.
No,
Guy on
because
the
she
horse.
never ran away with him.
Right.
No. Oh yeah. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
The last time we see him before the last time we see him. That's a weird way of saying it. The time before. Anyway, he mentions that, yeah, I'll tell you if you ever write off with
Right.
me, but then he just... Anyway, what I was going to say is that shot, the last time that we do see him, is probably the smoothest speed ramp I have ever seen on film.
Oh, I didn't even notice it.
Didn't even notice it. Yeah.
He's coming in as slow motion because, you know, the crazies have
Yeah.
taken over the asylum, you
Right.
know, literally. And he's coming in slow motion because all the stuff in the house is happening in slow motion, like fires falling and bricks and all that shit.
Interesting.
And he's coming in slow motion, and the speed ramp happens so smooth and buttery smooth that it gets into the normal speed.
I'll have to look
when
back
he reaches
at that.
to the gate. It's real.
You know
I
what? Now
immediately noticed it, and I was like, "Holy crap, that was awesome!"
Now that you say that, yeah, it does do that. But I didn't recognize it. But you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't typically compare the techniques as much as you do. I mean, it's just who you are versus who
Yeah.
I am. But you're right. I mean, that's pretty nuts, actually.
I don't think I've ever seen one done that well, especially on film.
Yeah, that's
which I
craziness.
think this was shot on film. I'd have to look.
I believe it was.
I kind of didn't see Kate Winslet's death come.
No?
Like, I didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
I knew that the guy that ended up killing her had a thing, but I thought that she was just going to get saved, like at the last minute or something like that, or
I'm with
maybe
you.
or maybe Geoffrey Rush was going to somehow escape his room and
Yeah.
and save her.
Yeah, I'm with you. I did not see her dying either. I thought she was going to be a main player throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
But I thought that she was going to get raped.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
There was definitely going to be stuff happening, but I didn't realize that like she was actually going to die.
Well, it makes it tragic.
Yeah.
Because if you're of any kind of like normal, I want to say like if you're completely devoid of sexual deviancy, I hate to say it that way, but it's almost like if you're more of a purist person,
Yeah.
watching the Marquis de Sade die at the end, spoiler, you could not care. You can kind of not care, but with her dying, you're like, oh, I mean, yeah, she did some shit that wasn't great, but it's tragic. You're like, okay, well, she didn't really. I mean, she didn't deserve to die. Like Jesus, you know what I mean? Like, so it brings tragedy into the film. You know what I mean?
It was shot on 35 millimeter Kodak film.
Real quick though, you were talking about Geoffrey Rush and his wife. That one scene, the Marquis de Sade and the wife. So I agree with you that they could cut it. The reason why I think
I don't think they should cut it
or cut it back.
Cut it back, yeah.
Well, the reason why I think it's in there in the first place, so the length that it's in there, is so you can see their relationship a little bit.
Relationship, yeah.
But I also think it's to see how not writing affects him. Because
Right.
that's really the big thing, is that he's like stressed the fuck out that they took all of his stuff, and he doesn't have the ability to write, so he's sort of flitting in between being able to talk to her and abusing her, which was also apparently the relationship that they had. Like at one point they had to move, the real Marquis de Sade and his wife had to move to Italy to get away from France because they were gonna kill him for perversion, for sodomy. And so he left to Italy, I should say, and with some guy, I believe it was. And then whenever he came back to France, his wife ended up hiding him and putting him all these places. So they had this like real hot, cold, you do dirty things to me, I'll do dirty things to you kind of situation. And I think they were trying to show you some of that on film without, flying to Italy. I mean, I don't know how else you show that if you're focusing specifically on his years at Charrington.
You did bring up a good point about, not changing locations. This entire thing practically takes place in the asylum.
Other than the shot with the Emperor,
Right.
The
and
the
when we
nunnery,
first meet
Amelia.
Collard.
We got Collard and his girl, yeah. And then whenever, and then the house, the house
so
at Collard.
75%.
Yeah, there's a few shots, but it's not much.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really not much.
Yeah, I totally forgot about the whole subplot of the contractor.
Stephen Moyer.
Yeah, Stephen Moyer.
Which I don't know. It's just very strange to me that here she is, this wholesome girl.
Yes. Go ahead, say it slowly.
Yeah. So she's this God-fearing girl, and she gets picked up by some weirdo that basically was promised to him. Mm-hmm. And then she
was
up,
like 9, by the way.
Yeah, this is a really weird situation.
Not back then. Totally normal back then.
Yeah, I guess, but
yeah.
Well,
it's just weird.
not to have him come, calling on her that early.
Yeah. She's only 15. He's supposed to wait until
14.
14.
Yeah.
He's supposed to wait until she's 16.
Oh my God.
So he's 2 years early, and they're not expecting that. And she was promised to him like 5 years before.
Yeah.
When his wife died.
So I did chuckle when I guess it was, what was his name? Prue? The contractor guy.
Contractor.
Yeah.
So Stephen Moyer's character, he was like, she wants this certain type of marble, but it's like super rare to find. And he's like, anything that she wants, just give it to her. And you come to find out that
he did.
He did. But
No, you're true. That's dead on. Yeah.
Yeah. Haha. That's
Gave her
funny.
anything she wanted, boss.
That's pretty funny.
Taking care of the little lady. Yeah.
Anyway.
Go ahead.
I did find it pretty funny though that she was basically just trying to like rob him blind, just by putting the most extravagant things in this house. She's trying to run his bank account dry.
Yeah, it's a way to get back at him.
Yeah, it's like that was her only way of backstabbing, but the guy had infinite amount of money.
Well, he used his influence to get money because he basically made the Marquis de Sade's wife.
Yeah.
You know, the only reason he took on that was for money.
Yeah.
And then the prison labor, basically, at the end.
Yeah, you see that he's just an opportunist.
Yeah, he's exactly
Yeah.
the perfect word. He's just an opportunist.
Yeah. But then, like, she reads the book, and then all of a sudden she just becomes this
slut.
Yeah.
So I've heard a complaint.
It was a very quick,
well, it wasn't
relationship.
Quick. Yeah.
Like with her and Stephen Moyer.
Yeah, it really wasn't that quick. It's quick in the movie because it's
not shown.
Yeah, we're focused on on everything else, but her transformation, just like Kate Winslet's transformation, is meant to show us just how pervasive the Marquis de Sade's works were.
And that's why, like, a lot of the higher ups back then wanted it banned, just because everything was based off of religion, and you got to be pure, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, to see her go through and read the book, and then all of a sudden you just smash cut to her blowing Stephen Moyer. I'm like, wow, okay, so that relationship
escalated quickly.
That scene's one of my favorites in this movie, and not just because of the lip wipe, but because he's sitting there and he's reading or writing the letter, and you don't see her,
right?
And then as the camera starts to pull back, you see a hand. And you're like, oh no, like it's I just
like, what the heck?
It's so, but it's so much poetic justice to me. Like, she's with a guy that's closer to her own age. Mm-hmm. She's with a guy that she wants to be with, and she gets to be back at the guy who raped her, who basically traps her. I'm gonna put bars on the windows, put a lock on the door from the outside. She's a rare bird. I intend to keep her as such. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
Let's get him back. I'm down with this. Let's do that. Yeah. Blow away. Let's get this done. Like I like that scene because it's a culmination of, again, just a lot of poetic justice, a lot of karma coming in. I like that.
I did like Geoffrey Rush's, like, I keep going back to his when basically everything was taken away from him, like especially his Quills. Whenever his ability to write and to actually get all of this crap out of his head, once that stopped, he
went nuts.
Yeah, you went nuts, and it's like this was actually a good form of captivity, anyways. Is give him an avenue of writing. Keep it all secret and everything. Just write it down.
Yeah,
write it out,
therapeutic.
and get it out of your system, because if you keep it inside, then here comes the crazy.
Yeah, and there's like therapy that goes around now. It's like psychologists will say, write whatever you're wanting to say to somebody, but don't give it to them. Just get it out.
And, write it down, put it in an envelope, seal it up, and then put it in a desk drawer or something like that. Just get rid of it, or burn it, or something.
The art therapy piece was what the Abbe, the real one, and Joaquin Phoenix in the film. That's what he believed in. He was like, it's a great way for them to get their demons out. So he's like, what was that guy's name? The Dauphine, the little ball hair guy, the arsonist.
Isn't it better to paint the fire than
light them? Yeah, and he's like, and really, no, it's much better to light them. Let's be honest.
That was a creepy scene, because when they were doing the telephone game, and then all of a sudden he gets triggered by the flame of the candle, and he's like, fire.
What he could reach through and get the bitch, like,
yeah.
God, yeah. That scene's so rough, but I mean, it starts out and it's kind of funny, right? You got the Marquis de Sade. He's using these insane people to pass his book along by telephone, and then it ends up with the big guy breaking through the door, the fire being set, people being raped, people being beaten.
It goes from comedic to
tragic.
Very
tragic. Kate Winslet gets killed and is dumped in the. I mean, just awful. And their mom is trying to fish her out with her blind mother's trying to fish her out with the laundry spoon or whatever that's called. Yeah. It's just awful, man.
Yeah,
it's awful.
It goes from, and it all started with taking away the Quills.
True.
It all could have been prevented.
So how many of you thought, I have to ask, how many of you thought that Joaquin Phoenix was cracking up on a cold one? That's the only way I can say it.
Yeah, 100%.
Did you? Yeah.
100%. And
you know what that means,
and
right?
I thought he was, in his head, he had went down the rabbit hole.
Yes.
And he was like, oh, she's alive.
Yeah. Hold on, let me explain this to Justin.
I didn't even hear what you said.
I said, did you think that Joaquin Phoenix was cracking open a cold one?
Oh, gotcha.
Which means to
Okay,
have
I
sex with a
gotcha.
dead
Yes.
body.
Okay.
Oh,
Yes.
I don't
I didn't
understand.
Hear, I didn't hear what you
Justin
said.
didn't understand.
Please-
That's
No,
why
I-
I'd explain it.
Mansplain.
Mansplain.
Yes.
No.
Did you think he was though in the movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. At first, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Most
but-
people do. I mean, they
Well, I mean, they shoot it that way.
they shoot it that way. Yeah.
I was singing "Cold Ethel" by Alice Cooper.
Ugh, it's so great. Last Dance with Mary Jane. Ugh.
Yeah,
Which I like the way they did it because they force you to think that
Yeah.
that he's going insane too, which
Yeah.
I guess he
does.
eventually does.
Yeah.
What's interesting is the Madeline, the real Madeline.
Mm-hmm.
If we were talking about history of all this, we keep talking about Michael Caine having this pedophilic relationship with his wife, right? The real Madeline was only 14 as well.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
Interesting.
that.
That
yeah.
and the Marquis, they had a relationship during his stay at the insane asylum too.
Gotcha.
So, not all that good.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
But normal back then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Not defending it, but I
Yeah.
mean, back in the 1800s,
I don't know.
it was part of the norm. It was going out.
Yeah. I don't know
But-
where the age cutoff was back then,
Yeah, I don't know either.
because it feels very flimsy. Like I feel like there's some stories you'll hear where it's like, oh, 12, two 12-year-olds would get married, but then it's like, well, if you're willing to say a 12-year-old can get married, well, then why wouldn't a 12-year-old who's be with somebody who's more established? And
Well,
that's where
like-
you end up with this crazy
Well,
age gap.
it's like you were saying earlier. After the revolution, it started getting less common for aristocrats to be able to buy their freedom, so to speak, in prison.
Yeah.
And it's the same with that whole perversion of marrying old men marrying really young women type thing. It all started to go away then at that time.
Yeah, I think at one point anyway, even here in America, I think it was like 14 for like a lot of years, right? Up until like the 1800s, 14 was pretty normal.
There are still states where you can legally get married at 14
Man,
with parents' consent.
that's
that's pretty crazy.
not my
But
kids.
I know I grew up. Let's see, three or four doors down from a elderly couple. They were elderly when I was little, but they were married they died in their late 90s, and they were married for 83, 84 years. They got married like when they were like 12.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's
Yeah.
crazy. That's really nuts. So
So, what did you guys think of Joaquin Phoenix as acting in this?
Whiny Joaquin Phoenix.
Whiny Joaquin Phoenix.
it's not one of his strongest. It's not one of his strongest outings, but I didn't mind it.
I can't remember. There's another movie that he reminded me of of his, but I can't think of it for the life of me.
Well, there's a
where
Walk the
he's-
Line.
No, it wasn't Walk the Line.
I don't know.
It was. It reminded me of him in Gladiator. When he's crying and whining, and Daddy didn't love me. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Blah. He's like,
it's
"Oh,
around the same
come
time.
on."
Yeah, it's around the same time. So I mean,
That's too funny.
I think he was in a phase of his acting. I call it the wet faced Joaquin Phoenix years, because it seems like he's constantly wet. Like he was in 8mm, and he looks like. Granted, he's like a freak who works in a porn shop, but he look 8mm or 9mm.
8mm.
It is 8mm.
8mm.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
A gun,
But
it's film, not a gun.
I'm with you. But he looks, for some reason, he looks wet like the entire movie. I'm like, why do you always look wet? Like you're sweating, but you're not. Just your hair's sweating. It's really strange. It's very
Glistening.
Yeah, but
He was
he's-
Twilight before there was Twilight, man.
There you go.
dear God.
But in this movie and in all those other movies that we just named, he just takes on like kind of a whiny thing. But that being said, I don't mind him. He doesn't get in my way. He's not the main
doesn't do
character.
anything for you.
Yeah, he doesn't do anything for me, but he doesn't work against the movie.
Well, what do you think if it was instead
Oh.
Hugh Jackman?
No.
I don't
No.
think so either.
No.
No, I don't like it.
The only thing that I can think of is, oh shoot, I just had the movie on the tip of my tongue. The Prestige. Like
Yeah.
if he played like that kind of character in this, I think I could see it.
The problem I'd have
Not
is
like
that
Wolverine Hugh Jackman running around the
well, no,
asylum.
but even the Prestige, he's such a Hugh Jackman is your classic good looks, classic type A looking type gentleman, to the point where I don't know that I could believe that Michael Caine would be able to overpower Hugh Jackman. Joaquin Phoenix, especially in this movie, I can believe that
That's
if
true.
Hugh Jackman came in and was like, "I'm asserting my power," you're like,
Right.
"Okay, well, I understand. I'm just an Abby." Like I
You're
could
right.
see that.
Yeah.
If Hugh Jackman was there, I'd be like, I just don't believe it. I
I'm
don't
with
know
you.
why.
Yeah. Well,
know?
apparently he was considered for the role first of
Yeah.
Abby.
I've never been a Walking Phoenix fan.
Oh, really?
Not really.
Oh, I like him all the way back to Space Camp, man.
Eh,
He was Max in Space Camp.
he's just been kind of a.
Hey, Binks. Hey, Max. Anyway, sorry. It was
Yeah.
Space Camp. It was a robot.
Not my cup of tea for Walking Phoenix, anyways.
I thought you pulled a Michael Caine just now. Not my cup of tea.
Not my cup of tea.
Anyway.
Michael Caine.
He's too old.
He does a good Michael Caine.
He does.
You don't.
Screw you,
It
man.
needs to be a little bit deeper. Michael
Just
Caine.
joking.
You are mean.
I am
I
a
did
little bit.
Mean man.
I did also read more about the Abby Comier,
Yes.
however you pronounce his last name, that he was actually a 4-foot tall hunchback.
Really?
Then Walking Phoenix did a great job.
No, you know what? Then it should have been Danny DeVito.
Oh
Danny
my
DeVito
God.
should have been.
That would be hilarious.
Abby. Like I could see it. So there I was blasting on the Marquis de Sade.
Oh my god.
Walking by the cells. Bullshit. Bullshit. Derivative.
Derivative.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, now I'm upset
All right,
that
I want to recast this now.
with
This
Danny
will be
DeVito.
great.
Yeah.
Let's remake it. Let's have Danny DeVito as Abby.
No, you know what?
The
We
Marquis
can't
de
do it.
Sade hitting on Danny DeVito.
It'll be 900. Oh, Jesus Christ! God, what an awful visual! It'll be 400 days of Justin trying to make the ramp shot just as smooth
Oh,
as
yeah,
it was in the
that's-
first.
that's true.
I just can't get it. What did they do?
They used film.
Yeah.
And the cinematographer wore glasses.
Oh,
There you go.
burn.
Yeah.
So what else you got? on
Blindy.
this?
Nothing.
All right.
Nothing.
So I was gonna go over the budget for this
man.
film. Now
I bet it was
I'm gonna
high.
try something new for this season.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
Instead of the numbers game,
Yeah.
let's try to figure out if it was a success or not, or like it made its money back, or it made a hell of a lot more money, or it didn't make its money back.
So
So
let me get this straight. So you're going to tell us the budget,
I'm going to tell you the budget,
and then we're going to have
and
to
then we're going to
guess-
say
Okay.
if you're going
If
to
you
say
think it made its money back or not.
yeah,
Okay.
yes, no, or or yes, it was tenfold or whatever. All right, so the budget for this movie was $13,500,000.
Which seems like a steal, by the way. If you think about Michael Caine, Jeffrey Rush,
There was
Kate
4
Winslet,
Oscar.
Oscar?
That
Thought
I
you
know,
were
I
gonna
just-
say-
hold on,
I just
hold on.
Marquis de Sade.
Yeah, he did. He was like, "There's 4 peniskers."
there are 4 asses in this movie.
4 Oscar nominated actors in this movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean it's excellent for that. So 13.5.
Yeah, 13.5.
Okay, that's
So-
not bad.
So, do you think it actually was a success, or do you think it was a flop?
I think it
In
was a flop.
2000?
Yeah, in 2000.
I don't know. 13 million is not.
Now,
we're talking about worldwide.
Yeah, now it came. Yeah, we're talking about cumulative worldwide gross, like
So
the
can I-
most money it's ever made.
Okay, possible if we go cumulative worldwide, but let me say this: here in the States, anyway, I do not remember seeing it in a large theater anywhere. It was only released in art houses.
Now,
Now-
it was released November 26th, 2000. So it was towards it was a Thanksgiving movie.
No, it was released, but I'm saying I only remember seeing it in art houses.
Yeah.
So I don't know that it was ever shown like at an AMC or a Cobb. It was shown at like, the Tampa Theater or the Polk Theater in Lakeland or the Historic Theater up in Gainesville, etc. It's there's small
Like artsy.
1,500 or less audiences that are most of the time some kind of atmospheric theater.
Yeah.
That's who it was released with.
And I remember I was about 17 around this time. I remember this, like seeing trailers for this when it first released. I remember hearing about it.
You wouldn't have been old enough to get in.
Yeah, well, probably. But I mean, I remember remember thinking about it. It's like, that looks stupid.
Well, it wasn't. I mean, dude, we were young.
I know,
Like it wasn't
yeah.
really made
But
for
now
us.
knowing what the content of it,
Yeah.
I would have been
It's like,
I wanna go
period
see
piece.
that. Yeah.
I mean, if they had put on the trailer like Kate Winslet did it, you'd be like, "Oh, never mind, I'm in." Like, where are we at?
Wait,
I'm
there's
gonna
boobs in
say-
this?
I'm going to say it made its money back, but it was not a success.
That's what I was leaning towards.
I'm gonna
Okay.
say it did not make its money back.
Okay, so it actually did make its money back, but
Okay.
it wasn't actually a huge success. It made 17,989,000, so like maybe 5 million over.
Okay, it's not a huge success, but
5
a
million is
success.
nothing to shake a stick at.
Right.
Yeah, but not necessarily
Not enough
like
to make
a sequel.
Marquis. I was gonna say the Marquis de Sade too.
And his
Electric Boogaloo.
and his 30,000 children or something. I don't know.
I missed a joke, by the way. I should have easily said it's nothing to shake a stone cock at. But anyway, go ahead.
You mean a pike staff?
Well,
Pike staff. They were so elegant back then.
What's up, John?
Or shake Michael Caine's or Michael Caine.
Michael Caine's Caine.
Michael Caine's Caine in it. I can see that. Yeah, easily.
Oh, penis jokes. They're great.
Not with this. I'm
Oh, I
sorry,
know.
but it's always my movies. But I know that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you can't not
You got
go into
you
this.
got a thing with that.
I like being on the edge. I'm like, hello. Are these your morals?
Yeah, you do. That's exactly what I thought when I watched this movie. I was like, great, here's another moral testing movie.
Well, so Rotten
Yes.
Tomatoes, the critics gave this a 75%,
Okay.
and the audience gave this an 83%.
Oh, interesting.
So a lot higher from the audience perspective about this.
Yeah. So the audience actually scored it higher than the critics.
Yeah.
Huh.
So
It's usually the opposite with these kind of movies.
yeah, these kind of artsy kind of stuff like this. Knowing all that information, let's go ahead and jump into the Screen Riot scores for it. So Eddie, since this was your movie, you get the honors of going first.
Okay. So, I like this movie. I've seen this movie probably close to 10 times. The bulk of why I like this movie though is all the weird stuff. It's the well, in some ways it's the weird stuff, I should say. I like Michael Caine's performance. He's believable as this I'm very respectable, etc., but then by the way, I like to rape my 14-year-old
Yeah.
wife.
Behind closed doors, I'm a totally different person.
He just is believable as
Yeah.
that. I don't know why, but I like it. Joaquin Phoenix, I do think, is probably the weakest of the main cast, but I take that back. I think Kate Winslet's the weakest of the main cast. I think Joaquin Phoenix edges her out just barely. But I like the set design. I like the music. I don't like period pieces normally. Like, I'm not a period piece guy, and yet I like this movie. Now, granted, again, it could just be subject matter, but I like it. Yeah, for me, it's probably oh God, I don't want to go too high because I don't want to embarrass myself later. I would say that this is a 7.5 for me.
Okay.
This is a pretty damn good movie, in my opinion. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
7.5 for Eddie. So Kyle, what do you think?
Yeah, first off, I was very surprised when I saw this come out of Eddy. Of like, wow, Quills? Okay, a period piece? This is crazy because, yeah, you're right. You're definitely not a period piece kind of guy. And I'm like, okay, I'll give this a shot. And, not knowing anything about this movie. Yeah, it was kind of a shocker for a minute.
Was there a shocker in it too? I didn't catch the shocker.
Yeah. Not shown, only insinuated.
Gotcha.
Through very elegant text.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I really did like Geoffrey Rush in this. I think that's the rock in this movie, is everybody kind of played around him. When he walked into a room, it was like, okay, Geoffrey Rush is the lead in this for sure, hands down. There was no question whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, not a huge Joaquin Phoenix fan, but the movie was pretty. It was nicely shot. I did like the costumes in it. I really enjoyed that scene where Napoleon got on his throne and started dangling his feet.
Forgot about that. Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is funny. I like this already. And they were like explaining, or they were like reading the book or something like that. But what I found kind of interesting, before I give my score, I thought that the text that the guys were reading in front of Napoleon was different than what Kate Winslet was saying in front of her friends. It's like the publisher, once it got published, something got moved around and re-edited and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't actually true Marquis, sayings or
I thought they were just different parts of the book. Was all I thought.
Anyway, but all in all, I mean, I didn't hate the film. I didn't necessarily love it. I don't think I'll watch it again. I think I'll give this like a 6.5. I think.
Okay, 6.5 for Kyle. John, what do you think?
I didn't love it and I didn't hate it. Okay, so I'm kind of lukewarm on it. I agree. Geoffrey Rush, absolutely amazing, minus the nakedness. Way too much naked Geoffrey Rush. I akin the character of the Marquis to Larry Flint. It was like the Larry Flint of the 1800s.
That's a good alignment. Yeah.
You know, and I think I think the movie is also a strong essay on just expression in itself, of not just necessarily, oh, I have to write. It's like he had to. That was his type of, for lack of a better term, perversion. But I mean, it's just if he would have been allowed to do what he wanted to do, if he would have lived now, he'd have been perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
he
because
for the
would've
most part.
He would have wrote 50 Shades of Grey.
yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah, he would have wrote stuff like that because I mean, you can do that.
Yeah.
And people love it.
Right. They pay money to see it. But yeah, I mean, I like the film. I like the way it was shot. I do think that it could have been cut maybe 15 minutes out of it or so. I think could have gone away. But I think this one I'm gonna do a 7.
Okay, so a 7 for John. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was just odd enough for it to be really entertaining. If that makes sense.
It does. Yeah.
Geoffrey Rush, like we've all said, did an amazing job. I didn't really notice too much about the cinematography like I typically do, but except for that speed ramp that we talked about a little bit earlier. So that didn't throw anything out in my mind. I would watch this again, not like immediately, but maybe a couple of years from now, I'd probably watch it again. I would recommend it to certain people that I know. Like, I wouldn't recommend it to my grandmother.
Right.
Things like that.
Why not?
Would you like your morals challenged?
Yeah. So I'm gonna give it an 8.2
Wow.
because I'm somewhere between an 8.5 and an 8. So I'm thinking somewhere in the middle, 8.2.
Okay.
That's where I'm gonna land on it.
Nice. Wow.
Nice.
Huge success with Justin today.
So
Well, now I know what kind of movies, by the way, to get Justin going. if
Yeah,
you know what I
erotic-
mean.
erotica movies.
And I have to say, neglected to say that I am a fan of period pieces.
Yeah.
I really like them. So good
Good
pick.
It's I like it because it's not too period, if you know what I mean. Like it doesn't
that's true.
feel too stuffy. It stays in its
It's because it stays
era.
in its one location. Basically, it doesn't go out of its way to say, "Hey, I'm a period piece." It's
Yeah,
like here's
yeah.
you're in a castle.
Yeah.
Basically.
And they aren't trying to do our last discussion, the talk, the period talk that
yeah,
you hate. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The wife does that the most, and she annoys me the most in the whole fucking movie. The Marquis' wife. Everyone else is like, just kind of fun.
You know what's interesting? The actress who plays her
The wife, yep.
is actually Geoffrey Rush's wife.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Well, Geoffrey, you got an annoying ass wife. Sorry. It's real life movie. She's annoying.
So with that, Quills gets a 7.3 average.
Nice.
Respectable.
I just realized we didn't talk about the threesome with the chambermaid who was hanging out with the two guys who were just having fun. Just
Yeah,
little
And they were talking about how disgusting the Michael Caine situation is. Like, wow, okay,
great.
that's great. Continue on.
Yes, exactly. I thought that was funny. I just think it's so funny because again they were pointing out the hypocrisy John was talking about earlier. They're just pointing out his hypocrisy the whole
Yeah.
time. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Sorry. Creative.
So now, that almost concludes episode 1 of season 3. We need to go ahead and spin for the next host and the next genre that they're going to pick.
Won't be me.
No, it will
you're
not be
done.
you. You are done. Okay, here we go. Going to be Kyle.
Okay, so
Dun, dun,
Kyle,
dun.
And what genre is he going to have to pick from?
All right,
It's going to be comedy.
All right, Kyle, here we go.
It's going to be comedy. I'm telling you. Hands down. Comedy.
Action adventure.
Nope. I'm wrong.
Okay. All right. So this one, I'm actually going to pick a very recent movie.
Dun, dun, dun.
I know.
For
Spoiler
real.
alert.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to pick Dunkirk.
Okay.
Okay.
Dunkirk is an actual real life thing that happened, and it takes place back in World War II. So the synopsis here is: an Allied soldier from Belgium, the British Commonwealth and Empire, and France are surrounded by German army and evacuated during a fierce battle in World War II. So this was directed by Christopher Nolan, another Christopher Nolan film.
Yeah, back in 2017,
Yes,
I believe, right?
and it's only an hour and 46 minutes, which is pretty crazy for
a Nolan
a
film.
Nolan film. Yeah,
Yeah.
usually he likes to go out of this world with time.
Yeah, he does not like the human bladder. That's the only thing I can think about.
Right.
Christopher Nolan.
He doesn't like the human
He
plow.
punishes you for sure.
Yeah. So if you want to follow along on this with the Screen Riot crew, you can go to justwatch.com and look up Dunkirk. You can see that it's streaming on HBO, but you can also rent it on other platforms as well. So go check that out and join us next Saturday.
See ya.
Later.
See ya.